Hello, welcome to Skye's Sweaty Record Review, the only new music review show hosted by a French professor immediately after getting off the elliptical. So, it's exciting. It's the end of the year. It's Christmas Eve, actually. I've been doing the show for a few months, and I thought, why not do a kind of best of? I've reviewed over 50 albums by now, so I definitely have enough to talk about, and I want to talk about it. Now, first of all, if this is new to your show, this is the first time you watched it, there's a few general principles that I go by. One is I review after I listen to something for the first time. So everything I'm going to be reviewing now is something that I've listened to multiple times since I first listened to it. That's the whole point of the show, is helping me discover new music and sharing it with you, maybe helping you too. Another thing is this is going to be a best of, but there's no such thing as a worst of on Skye's Sweaty Record Review. And if you've never seen my show before, I have what's called no production value. So this is my production right here. Professor Payne's pretentious preface. I actually have to hold it up with my own hand. So what do I mean? Actually, I'm gonna prop it up on this. You'll see what that is later. There we go. Professor Payne's pretentious preface. So this is a best of, and there's not going to be a worst of. And I'm actually making the argument that for those of us who are critics, analysts, who spend time on things that we don't like, we're actually contributing to the destruction of civilization. Our civilization, I believe, is headed towards a snarkopocalypse, an apocalypse of snark, where it's so easy to take things down, to tear them down, to listen to bad artistic choices, and fold our arms and say, I could do better. We need to stay away from it. This show is free of snark. I listen to every artist. I try to listen to them. I try to take them seriously. Because who am I? I'm not a creator. I mean, okay, I did make music. You don't want to hear it. I would not give myself the stamp of approval. If we're critics, if we're trying to listen to music, we need to actually look for things that are great. Because there's plenty of stuff that's bad. But if I hear something and I think I'm not going to like it, I just don't listen to it. I'm sure not going to talk about it. And of course, if I did, I'd get 1,000 more clicks. I'd get 1,000 more likes. And I can't believe how bad Nickelback is, or whatever the band is that's considered to be the worst now. But what's the point? What does it get you? It's like speaking ill of somebody. It gets you nothing. Actually, in French, the term is médire, to speak ill of somebody. And it's so bad that it's actually like, okay, I'm going to go a little bit further. I just went to a conference. But it's actually considered by Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, one of the primary monks of the Middle Ages, not only to be a sin to speak ill of somebody, it's a sin to hear that. Like just hearing somebody talking smack about somebody else is itself a sin. Now, I don't think it's a sin, and I'm not here to moralize, despite the fact that I got a Playmobil crash behind me. But I think it's something for us to think about. It poisons our mind to talk about what is bad. You know that YouTube channel, Cinema Sins, where they go through and they nitpick every single thing and they point out what's bad? That is the grinning face of the snarkopocalypse. That is us watching and saying, yeah, that was bad. Plot hole. Forget it. Let it go. Let's rise above and move ahead. Let's trust artists and listen to them and try to keep art growing. Okay. Amazingly, that's not the end of Professor Payne's pretentious preface. There's even more I have to say, and that is about the nature of this best of episode. You see, in the 21st century, we have so many options. Oddly enough, the last stamp that I gave, for those of you new to the show, a stamp is what I call a good song. That's a song that gets my stamp of approval. And the last stamp was by a band called Spielberg and Noah, and the song was called So Many Options. And in it, the singer laments, I like the old days when we didn't have so many choices, when you could just turn on TV and you had to figure out if you liked something or not. And I think a lot of what we're losing is not only the ability to listen to things that challenge us and be forced to confront those things, but also another thing that we've lost is the ability to discern. Like, we're being flooded, and what we need to do is be able to select and choose. So to that end, for my end of 2018 review, I've created a mixtape. Now, for you new folks, people who never had to deal with cassettes, a mixtape, I'll show you what it is. See, I've been cleaning out my dad's storage space, and I found all my old cassettes. And so I found things like this. the car mix. I probably made this in the late 90s. I didn't label it. I put it on an MX, which is like the best kind of tape. So this is probably pretty good music on here. I don't know what's on there. I actually lost most of my cassette covers. Here's the inside of another one. I called this side the nifty side, and on the other one, the nipperkeen side. Some high school Skye sarcasm there. I would even make mixtapes of my favorite bands. There's the Wu-Tang Banga mix, which you can pause and look and see what I thought was the best Wu-Tang as of 1998. But these mixtapes did a lot. See, the thing is that we have playlists, and playlists are great, and I make playlists. And actually, this episode, I'm going to turn into a playlist on Tidal, the service that I use, on Spotify, on Pandorum, maybe even iTunes. I don't know. I'll do that, and I'll put them in the links. I'm going to do a little bit of work here, because I'm going to be picking the best 45 minutes of late 2018. Why 45 minutes? Because that's what fits on this side of a cassette. And I found something. I found a blank. And you see what I wrote on there? Skye's late 2018 mix. I'm going to fill up 45 minutes with the best music that I've listened to since September. So let's get to it, shall we? You see that I've written on the tape. I've also labeled. It's only going to be half of a tape, so late 2018 mix. I'll tell you what's going to be on the other side at the end of this episode. And also, I will get to the best albums, not just the best songs, but I'll do that after the mix. So, apparently I started on this tape a long time ago, and I didn't get very far. So, let's start with the first song. Now, another thing. I'm not going to do this best to worst or end it with the best song. That's not the idea. A mixtape, again, unlike a playlist, is curated. Discernment. You have to figure out what's the rhythm. So I'm going to make a nice playlist. And I don't want you to skip through it and jump ahead, because you can't. It's a cassette. You can skip ahead, but you might miss the beginning of the next song. You certainly can't do shuffle. And you can't do any kind of predictive algorithm. The predictive algorithm is me. I chose these things. Not you, not some computer. And that's the joy of making mixtapes. And so let's get it back here with Skye's late 2018 Stampy mix. Now the first stamp I'm going to put on here, I want to start with a little bit of rock and roll. So I'm going to put on a song by Hippo, and the song is called Doubt. Now Hippo is one of my favorite bands of the last 6 months, primarily because it's my most popular video. I had no idea what I was doing when I was making this channel. I just picked bands at random. It turns out they have a rabid fan base. And so I have like a personal love of this band because it helped to grow my channel. But this song in particular was really amazing. It's a really well-produced song. Since I made that video, I've listened to a fair amount of Hippo. I'll get to that later at the 100 sub special. But this song really still stands out. It's got I would say, the best hybrid of electric and acoustic instruments. I mean, electronic and acoustic. I think that's sort of the vanguard of where music is going. So, Hippocampus Doubt, that starts us off on kind of a nice sort of upbeat, but not too upbeat tone. I would also say this is the most Daft Punky song of the year in terms of the perfection of its production. And then the next track, I'm going to go a little bit electronic. I really like music that's like driving, like music that has like motion to it. So I'm putting on A Little More Numb by Lay Big Bird. So that's the Swedish kind of funny, goofy band. Remember the name of their album was Iran, Iraq, IKEA. I still find that really funny. But it's got this great sort of pounding sense. And the thing about mixtapes is they are made for the car. They're made for moving. They're made for places when you're going to have your Walkman and you're going to be walking around. And so this song, when you make a mix, you want not to just go all the same level. So you get going with Hippocampus, kind of upbeat poppy song, and then kind of a driving tune. And that'll take us immediately into an absolute banger, one of my favorite hip-hop songs of the year. And this is by Lil Wayne. And this song is called Uproar, produced by Swizz Beatz. And this is just, after you got the kind of like cool, relaxing song, this is going to bring the car way up. You're going to be super psyched and excited listening to this. This is also sort of wait, who is this guy of the year as well, because Lil Wayne is someone I've never really understood. So getting to listen to this album a few times since reviewing it has helped me understand what is his style, what is his genius, his wordplay, his charisma, the unbelievable charisma that comes across on this. I mean, he doesn't say anything the whole song, but the charisma comes through. Absolutely great song. The next track is another rock and roll song, some kind of like mixing up like hip hop and rock and electronic stuff. And this is by The Greeting Committee. And so I was going through my list of all the songs that I've liked, that I've stamped over the year. And this is the best band that I just completely forgot. I just don't remember. I didn't remember them. I listened to it again. It's a great, wonderful rock and roll song. Nothing electronic, a beautiful female singer just going along, a nice theme about disappointment and feeling like you are a disappointment. So I'm putting that in there just as a way to sort of remember part of the theme of this show is there's so much great art out there. I only review 3 to 5 records a week, and I still can't capture it all. And even the ones that I capture, I still let slip through my fingers. The next track is the best good song off a mediocre album, and that's the song by Belly. Not the 90s girl group, but the Canadian rapper, and that song is called Immigrant. Now when you listen to this one, it's also the best political song, I believe. It's a song about immigration, the difficulty of immigration. He has rappers himself from Canada, he has Mia, from England, talking about the immigrant experience and the feeling of being unwanted. Mixed in with an amazingly produced track that's just exciting, and his vocals are good. The whole album is just a miss. It's a bummer because I really like the way this guy raps. But this song is excellent. Moving along, we have Naji, the artist who communicated most with me, which I'm appreciative of. Maybe a little bit of bias, but I don't care. And that is the title song off of the album. See, I'm making a lot of progress there. The title song of the album, Misfit. I would say this is maybe the best sort of indie genre-bending song. You know, it's sort of soul, it's kind of hip-hop. It's also the most headphones-needing song. So this is for your Walkman, not necessarily for your car. The production on this, I mean, I listened to it, 20 times since I reviewed it. And it's just like, it goes all these different places. There's all these different sections to the song, all these nice little instances and details. And the quality of the singing just gets better and more apparent the more you listen to it. Excellent. Now the next song, ladies and gentlemen, is the song of the year. The stamp of the year. My favorite thing I have reviewed. One of my actual true favorite songs. And this is by a band that you might have even forgotten I reviewed. Magic Lantern, Holding Hands. Just listen to this song. It's so beautiful. It's this singer who's got this ethereal, very strong voice mixed in with horns. And it's really kind of quiet and it's kind of delicate. And then there's kind of like this break, and then the horns start getting a little bit deeper, and then drums come in, and the lyrics are beautiful. It's about connection and loss, and the singing and the production. It's just, what a wonderful song. I mean, if I spent all this time making these videos to get my 64 subscribers, thank you 64 subscribers, and I did nothing other than just discover this one song, it would be worth it, because it's that kind of song that stays with you and that marks you. The stamp of the year goes to Holding Hands by Magic Lantern. Now that's kind of a downer song though. So you got to keep it mixed up. So immediately once you go down there, we go to Boom Boom Tap by the Prodigy. So Prodigy, is one of those great 90s bands, the great 90s like booming, like big beat techno. And Boom Boom Tap is just so catchy and so fun. It's a great mixture of that really driving big beat style with this great sample of someone just saying boom boom tap, ba-boom tap, and that rhythm gets built in. It also wins the award of song that my brother Amos likes the most. So my brother Amos, he was the one that introduced me to electronic music, introduced me to the Smiths, introduced me to hip hop. I used to spend a lot of my best days driving around in the car with him listening to hip hop or techno, And this is the song I played for him at Thanksgiving. He was just like, "Oh, Skye, this is great." So it's the Amos song of the year. And if you know my brother, you understand it. If you don't, I think you know people like that in your life. At least I hope you do. Keeping up with the nice dynamism on this mix, I'm going to go to probably my second favorite song of the year. And this is Cold Blooded by Swizz Beatz. So, this song, I don't know. I can't get enough of the song. This is the hip-hop song. It maybe gets the Kanye of the year in terms of pushing hip-hop production forward. There's no drums. It's just strings and like bells and like this really well-played jazz bass. But it's not trying to be, jazzy. And the theme of the song is about the dehumanization in the American ghetto, delivered perfectly by Pusha T. We'll be talking more about him in the next episode, or as I like to call him, Pushat. It's political, but it's also autobiographical. It's a great depiction of our society. It's just a wonderful, wonderful song. And that brings us way down, which of course means we then have to follow up with the pure pop song of the year. And that is by Poppy, the Is She a Robot? Does She Actually Exist? YouTube star in a minute. Now, I listen to a lot of pop music, Kim Petras, I think in particular, Little Mix, Poppy. I really enjoy really well-made pop music. And this song is one that captures her strangeness, Poppy's strangeness. It has that overly produced feeling where every single note is exactly clean. The entire song, sounds like a piece of Kraft cheese that's just wrapped in perfect plastic. Has no funk, no grizzle to it, but it's a really well-made, nice pop song. And I think when you listen to this mix, you'll be happy for that, especially coming after Cold Blooded. Then we have the most 2018 song of 2018, Roses, by Benny Blanco. So this is the song that I say is the most 2018 song, because it's a hip-hop song that's absolute. Is it rap? Is it hip-hop? What is this? It's this guy Juice WRLD who's doing the 2018 genre of sad trap. I'm trapped in my emotions, He's singing about how sad he is and how he just has to keep doing drugs and having sex in order to feel better about himself. And mixes all these genres. It has the guy from Panic at the Disco singing on it as well. And in some ways, it's just this crass produced commercial junk. But the more you listen to it, the more you realize there's a lot of inventive production to it. And also, it's just a good song. And it's the most zeitgeisty song I think you can listen to. I like it very much. And then, Professor Payne's pretentious preface, if you remember, it's all about discernment and selection. So the last song is actually going to get cut off. I only have 45 minutes. So I had to pick a song that will be annoying to get cut off, but is maybe a little bit too long. And that's a song called by Public Memory, not Public Enemy, although I do have one of their mixes as well. Public Memory, The Line. And that's what I call the Radiohead song of the year. So we have the Daft Punk song, the Kanye song, and the Radiohead song of the year. My favorite 3 working artists. So this is a wonderful song because it's another driving song and it's very cool. But if I just listened to it and didn't really pay attention to it, I wouldn't have noticed what they do. Or actually what he does, I think it's just a guy, is he adds this added elements of rhythm to the chorus. That's the way that he develops the song. Not so much by melody, but by rhythm, adding in extra bass drums. And it's just a wonderful atmospheric song. So there it is. There is the 2018, the late 2018 mix. Skye's Stamps. And it gets cut off. As far as the top albums of the first 50, this is my longest episode. You guys enjoying it? I hope. I'm going to have a sip of coffee. Iced coffee. I can do that. I've got 64 viewers. Subscribers. Never 64 viewers. I get like 20 viewers an episode. But hey, I'm enjoying myself. So speaking of that, the top 3 albums of the year. So this is kind of like a Trinity thing. Jeez, I'm sounding really religious today. I also included David Bowie's mugshot. So put him in the place of Jesus. So I don't get too religious here. But I consider like 3 things I'm trying to do in this show. I'm trying to discover 3 different kinds of music. I'm trying to discover great art to make sure that it's out there. I'm trying to listen to things that will bring me at peace with youth culture and pop music. And the third thing is I'm trying to believe that rap is not dead. So these are the things I'm trying to keep myself believing by making this show. So as far as like my hope in art and indie and what's out there, it's X:re, R-E. It turns out it's supposed to be pronounced X-ray. I didn't know that. I love this album. The whole thing, start to finish, is completely unified. It's an album about heartbreak made by an artist who I'd never heard of, from some band that I'd never heard of. But it's a wonderful album. I've said wonderful too much this episode. I'm sorry. I don't have a great vocabulary. Actually, I do. But when I get excited, I say the same 5 words. It's wonderful. The album is highly emotional, but not sappy. It's able to bring you in. It's able to create empathy for the person that you're listening to. And that gave me faith that there's always going to be great indie, artsy people making music, and that I just have to go out and find it with this episode. Equal to that is my peace with pop music and youth culture. My tendency is to listen to the radio and just say, I don't like it. This is what's popular. Led Zeppelin's better. I only want to listen to Greta Van Fleet. Maybe more about them later. But to move away from that, I've had to come to terms with a lot of, is it pop? And all these weird genre mixing things. And for that, I'm going to go with Trench by 21 Pilots. A truly excellent album. I listen to it all the time with my kids in the car. It's well made. It has a narrative structure. It is its own thing. Yes, it has that awful... The thing that I used to perceive of as awful is like, white guys from Columbus, Ohio, rapping about their depression and sadness. But everything is just getting mixed together. Everything's getting mixed together, and it's for the better with Trench by 21 Pilots. And then for my Rap Is Not Dead, even though it's not my favorite rap album of the year, it's the most challenging rap album. It's that trap style, the ricky-ticky hi-hat and the thumping bass, and the thematics that aren't that interesting. I'm going with Ski Mask, The Slump God. I found that album to be delightful. And I had to get used to the way that it sounded and the way that he raps, because he kind of mumbles and is sort of the, cough syrup thing that drives me a little bit crazy. But that is my Rap Is Not Dead. A couple more bonus categories. Best Washed Up Rocker, who made a great album. I would say Dead Rider Trio with Paul Williams. That's just great. Even better than the Paul McCartney album. Best Insanely Short Album is by Christian Leave. The Trilogy album. I reviewed that, I think, last week. And there it is. There's 2018, at least from September to January. I'll do another one of these in June. I'll basically go by semester because I'm a professor. So that's how I perceive of the world. And so there's your mix. Now you may notice on the other side, it's empty. Well, I'm going to fill it with the person who wins the 2018 Artist of the Year. Who's that going to be? Tune in to the next Skye Sweaty Record Review to find out. And until then, after a very long time, happy holidays. There's the camera. Ooh, I got pen on my finger.